Hi, and welcome back to the Neverending panel. I'm Charles Lee Jackson II, and I'll be your host and moderator. Before we get to the topic, I just want to mention that if you're on Facebook, you can check out The Club. That's the CLUB, the CLJ2 Unified Boosters page, where you can find out about all the free movie screenings we have here at the Las Vegas. We can about movies that are going on, about public appearances, conventions that are happening, and you can peruse our photo galleries. People seem to enjoy them, so I invite you to go to Facebook, just type in CLJII in the search bar, and it should take you right there. That's the end of our plug for today. So, today we have with us Eric Hoffman and Arlene Satin, and we're going to talk briefly about B-movie mysteries that have science fiction elements in them. In the days, especially in the 30s and 40s, there was a lot less rigidity of structure in film genres, and they mixed and matched quite a bit. And so nobody thought anything about having a mystery element in a horror film or horror elements in a mystery film. I know Eric has one particular one that he finds interesting. So let's start with Eric.
There is, now if you're talking about the science fiction element, it was a B mystery with Lloyd Nolan as Michael Shane, Private Eye. It was called The Man Who Wouldn't Die. And one of the subplots is this millionaire industrialist who's scared of dying, and he's hired this scientist who's basically a quack to find a way. And his laboratory, set in the traditional huge mansion, has just about every one of the Frankenstein machines invented by a fellow named Kenneth Strickfaden, and at one point they just turn them on and let her rip. There weren't really that many, at least in my memory, B mysteries which had a science fiction element. There was one called, with television was usually the element they used, like murder by television and death from a distance. But on the whole, it was usually just horror films that would really have those B mysteries. They stuck with the. If they did have really a fantastic element or horror element, there was one called Miracles for Sale, where you had the possibility of a demon killing off people, and magic illusions and the professional magicians.
Well, I mean, there's in any monster movie, there's always an element of mystery, because it's like, where did the creature come from? What is the creature? Even if before they find
that's not the B mystery
well,
thing.
But,
about the,
yeah, but
we hit both sides of these questions.
Yes.
Okay.
It was a mixed genre, and
yeah,
like Charlie said, so there was an element of those kinds of things in both types of movies. So I mean, it's like the white hats and the black hats.
Oh, that
the good or the bad. It's the common element amongst all current movies and the older movies.
Yes.
I'm kind of fond of a little film that only recently has just got turned loose in a set on DVD called The Strange Case of Dr. R.X., which is a kind of one of the many attempts to emulate the Nick and Nora Charles type couple. But you had a mysterious killer who out to bring justice to criminals who got off with the crime. And he's got the hero kidnapped, and he's got this money to set up this mad scientist laboratory, complete with a gorilla in a cage that he convinces the hero he's going to put his brain into. And that isn't horrifying enough. I don't know what is.
Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein.
Absolutely. Yes, the lab. The transfer of the monster's brain.
Yes, one of my favorites.
That I was delighted to find out it is one of the top 100 in the top 100 of the Congressional Library choices. I think it's number 50. And I think it's really outside. I don't know if, what the rating Young Frankenstein was. To me, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein is definitely my number one anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Herr.
Well, I was thinking about there's a lot of the Sherlock Holmes that, if you go with what they call soft science, is almost all of them have science fiction elements.
Yes. In Sherlock Holmes and the Secret Weapon with Basil Rathbone and Lionel Atwill. Now, I'm not thinking of the bomb side. I'm thinking about at the end of the picture, Professor Moriarty has rigged Holmes onto a medical table and is letting his blood drip out one drop at a time.
Yes.
The needle to the end, Holmes?
Yes, yes. Hey, medicine is science. And, of course, the Spider-Woman, where the woman in question, played by Gail Sondergaard, has her tarantula-like spiders that bite people and induce such pain in them that they throw themselves out of windows.
Well, there's also Pearl of Death, when you finally see Rondo Hatton as the creeper coming out of the shadows. All you saw was a little silhouette or just the hands. And then here comes this thing out of the shadows, and it's a human nightmare. Yes, the poor guy, but it's still like, I wish I could see some of these things maybe at the time they were released, or see them on a large theater screen with an audience, and I'll bet you'd get some interesting reactions. Like, I know there had to be screams when it happened.
Oh, I'm sure. Now, one of the things that we used to have in films that we don't have anymore, of course, is the old cliffhanger serials. And most of them, well, perhaps half of them, were set up as mysteries. Usually a very simple mystery. Who is the villain when you take off his mask?
Or who is the hero?
And sometimes who is the hero. But in the serial The Fighting Devil Dogs, the villain is the Lightning, who dresses up in sort of a Darth Vader-y kind of outfit. And he has a plethora of scientific devices at his command. He has so much scientific know-how that it's puzzling as to why he needs to use it to get domination or whatever he's going for, because clearly he had enough money he could just buy whatever he wanted. But he has his Thunderbolt, which is an electrically charged torpedo. And so the mystery of the film is, who is this guy? But it's science fiction all the way through.
Well, there's also mysterious Dr. Satan with his robot, or as I like to call it, the water heater with rabies.
Wouldn't the Shadow also fall into this category?
I don't think so.
I mean,
not
there
really.
are a certain amount of elements within his powers and stuff that...
Yeah, but they didn't really do those much in the movies.
No.
They really soft-pedaled the horror aspects of the character in the few movies.
Well, in
that
the
were
Alec
made.
Baldwin, when you see him transform, and you see him, the face morph into the Shadow.
Right.
That's it, I think.
So, yeah. And I think we're going to wrap up that segment now. Thank you, Arlene. Thank you, Eric. And thank you all for being with us for this segment of The Neverending Panel.